Good morning, students. As we were doing chapter 5 from your supplementary reader, Footprints Without Feet, the chapter name is also Footprints Without Feet. We have already explained page number 26, 27, and now it's turn for page number 28. So, as I have told you, this is a story about a crazy scientist and how he became invisible. So, let's start doing the chapter. So we were on page number 28. We have already done the above 3 paragraphs. We were on this paragraph, eager to get away from crowded London. So let's start doing. Eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. So Griffin was a crazy scientist. He created so many scenes in the town, so he thought that I might be caught by police, so he thought that it would be better to escape from this town and just go to any village, small village, where he could live unnoticed. But again, he was wrong here, because it was easy to get unnoticed in a town, in a big town, but it would be difficult to get unnoticed in a village, in a small village, because population is not that much in villages, and people could know each other so well. So even if one stranger enters the village, everybody gets to know about it. So he made a wrong decision, but he was very excited to get away from crowded London. That's why he took a train to the village of Epping. Okay, so this was the place name, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn, means local hotel, small hotel. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. So obviously that was not the season for tourists, and that too to visit a village. So it was a strange event for villagers, because the reaching of a stranger in a hotel was very unusual happening. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all the tongues wagging. Moreover, the stranger was having the uncommon appearance, means he was not commonly dressed up. Okay, he was unknown to everyone. That's why people start whispering about him. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly. Mrs. Hall, she was the wife of the innkeeper, so she made all the efforts, because she was running a small hotel, so she tried to be friendly with the customer. But Griffin had no desire to talk and told her. But Griffin was not having that friendly nature, and he didn't want to talk to her. That's why he formally told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude." That why he was visiting the village, because he wanted to live alone. Solitude means he wanted to live alone. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work, and moreover, he was wishing that nobody should disturb him. Besides, an accident has affected my face, and he made an excuse for his strange appearance, that he was affected by some accident on face. That's why he was having all the bandages. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric, means crazy scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse, means ignore, his strange habits and irritable temper, means annoying temper, because he had already paid handsome amount to Mrs. Hall. So she was having no problem at all, because a customer who was paying in advance, whether he would be crazy or whether he would be abnormal, nothing to do with Mrs. Hall. So now, but the stolen money did not last long. But the money which he has stolen from the shopkeeper, okay, that did not last really long. So Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strangeness, but now he was not having any money. Okay, so Griffin had to admit that he had no more cash. So when Mrs. Hall again asked him for advance, he said that I no cash. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. Although he just pretended that somebody would send him money very soon, so he just made one excuse. Shortly afterward, and after this discussion between Mrs. Hall and Griffin, and just after that, a curious episode means event occurred means happened. Very early in the morning, a clergyman means a priest who take care of the church and take care of the all cash and everything, and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. So it was the house of a priest, and he was resting with his wife, and obviously during the early hours of the morning, they heard some disturbing sounds. Creeping downstairs, they came downstairs, they heard the chink of money, means sound of coins, means somebody was taking the money from the donation box, being taken from the clergyman's desk. There was some many coins in clergyman's desk, and there was a sound of coins without making any noise, and with a poker means rod. So without making any footsteps noise, and taking a rod in his hand, grasped firmly means hold it firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. He just make the door open with a flunging sound. Surrender. He just told the thief to surrender. Then to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. So it is written here, then to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. So this page says that the clergyman was surprised, and he realized that the room was empty. There was no one. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. They looked here and there for any clue who has taken the money or who was there in the room. There was not a sign of anybody, yet the desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. Yet the burglary was done. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. It was unbelievable. He was saying it again and again. Unbelievable. How it could happen? Who could take the money? But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. So after the event of this burglary, then come the event in the inn. What happened? Just noticed. But it was not an extraordinary. But it was really not an extraordinary event in Mrs. Hall's inn. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. So they were surprised that the door, which was often locked, was surprisingly open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anybody entered his room. So by now Mrs. Hall knew that if somebody tried to enter in Griffin's room, he usually had bad temper, but how he could make his door open like this? The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. So this was the greatest opportunity for them to just peep into the room and look what exactly he did. So they peeped round the door, saw nobody. So when they just looked into, they noticed that nobody was there, nobody was in the room, and decided to investigate. So they started searching out. Okay, so they just went in. The bedclothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. So the bedclothes were cold. It was a clear sign that the scientist has left the room 2 or 3 hours before. And stranger, still clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying out the room. So there were all around bandages, and his clothes were scattering around. All of a sudden Mrs. Hall heard a sniff, and because he was running, Griffin was running, okay, and he was coming towards the inn. So she just heard the sound of some breathing, heavy breathing, close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leaped up, means jumped up, and dashed itself into her face, and she was hit by the cap on her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive, and all of a sudden they noticed that the bedroom chair was flying in the room and springing, means it's jumping into the air, and it charged straight at her, and the chair attacked them. Okay, legs foremost, and that too from the leg side. So she was very scared because the furniture seems to be alive, but actually it was Griffin who was doing all such things. As she and her husband turned away in the terror, so both were fearful. They thought that it might be some ghost or some haunted spirit. So what happened now? They were having fear, and extraordinarily chair pushed the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room. So by terrified by the chair, they both were pushed out from the room and then appeared to slam, and then the door banged. Okay, it was closed and locked the door after them, and it was locked now. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysteria. She was so much terrified, so much nervous, that she was almost falling down from the stairs in that fear. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits. So she was having firm belief that maybe the room was visited by ghosts, and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. And this is all because maybe the scientists had performed some kind of magic. That's why the ghost was having the control over all her furniture. My poor mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned. She cried and was saying that my poor mother used to sit on that chair. To think it should rise up against me now. How I could think that my mother's chair could attack me now. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. So obviously it was a small village, so this incident was talked about, and everybody was thinking that how it could happen. It could be the reason because some black magic or some hoodoos are behind it. So witchcraft means black magic, but witchcraft or not, whether it was black magic or not, when news of the burglary at the clergyman's house became known, but the theft burglary which was the event in the clergyman's house was now known to everyone. The strange scientist was strongly suspected. Now everybody was having the main suspicion, doubt, and they were doubting the strange scientist because he was the only person in his room. They encountered such weird things, okay, of having had a hand in it. So they all were sure in the village that this was the action only done by that crazy scientist. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, and their doubt became more stronger when he all of a sudden produced cash, because in the morning burglary took place, and earlier one day he was saying that I had no money and my check would arrive, and how all of a sudden he was having such ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money, because he just yesterday he told everyone that he was not having money, and now he was producing cash. The village constable was secretly sent for, so they called for the village constable, okay, without any notice of Griffin. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist. Now she was so eager to encounter him, and she just asked very straight to that scientist, who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom In the morning when they visited, Griffin was not there, and now he was coming from the room. So she was having suspicion that how he could go into the room. She was on the entrance, and how he could go. Okay, so I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs, she demanded. She demanded him formally that, hey, what's wrong with my furniture and what wrong you are doing? And I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. And moreover, I want to know how you can go to your empty room without being noticed and the room was locked. How you can enter in that room? The scientists now come to the next page. It says, the scientist was always quick tempered, but Griffin was having very short temper. He became angry very suddenly. Now he became furious, but he was now out of control. He was angry. You don't understand who or what I am, he shouted. He started shouting and threatening them that you don't know who I am. Very well, I will show you. So he just made a dare or a challenge to them that I will show you who I am. Suddenly he threw off bandages. Suddenly he started putting off his bandages, whiskers, means his beard and speckles and even nose. It took him only a minute to do this, and within a minute he just did it, undressed himself. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man. Now he was practically headless because he was not having any hat or mustache or any kind of false nose on his face, and his face was practically transparent. So everybody was having fear from a man who was not having any head. Okay, Mr. Jeffers, he was the constable, policeman. He was the constable now arrived, and by now he had arrived and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. He was also surprised that he would catch a man who was practically without a head. But Jeffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. But it was not that he was fearful and would not do his duty. Rather, he was very determined to arrest that man. If a magistrate's warrant order a person's arrest, then that person had to be arrested, with or without his head. So this is a kind of satire. So it's written that if a magistrate order, means if a written order from a judge would say that a person must be arrested, then that person must be arrested whether the person is without head or with head. There followed a remarkable scene. Then there was an unusual scene. Remarkable means an unusual scene occurred. As the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. So he was just attacking them. He was invisible. Okay, and finally, a shirt flew into the air, and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. And finally, when they were wrestling, okay, still he was in clothes, and finally, when he took all his clothes down, then he was practically invisible fully, and now there was no one to catch because they could not see him. So let's come to the ending almost. Some people tried to help him. Some people tried to help the policeman, but found themselves hit by blows. But they were also hit by hard hits that seemed to come from nowhere because they could not locate the location of Griffin anywhere where he was because he was invisible. So he was hitting them. In the end, Jeffers was knocked unconscious, and Griffin hit him so hard that he was fainted. Jeffers was fainted. as he made a last attempt to hold on the unseen scientist, or as he was just making a last attempt to hold that scientist, at that time he was fainted. There were nervous, excited cries of hold him. So everybody was nervous, excited, confused, and they were crying and telling, hold him. But this was easier said than done. But it was easy to say but difficult to do because they could not see Griffin. Griffin had shaken himself free and no one knew where to lay hands on him. When he made himself free from everyone, and now nobody knew how to catch an invisible man. So this story ends here. It was penned down by H.G. Wells. I hope this story is clear to you. Thank you for watching this video.